Nice to see you all here today. What a joy it is to be in this place with this community at this time as we come together to worship and to experience together the presence of God as we look into the eyes and into the hearts and the lives of each other. So welcome. Be still and know that I'm God. First sermon that I ever did, back way many, many years ago, more years than I want to contemplate, was on this topic, on the little verse that we heard read this morning, be still and know that I am God, from 46:10, the Psalm. I worked on that sermon for a long time. I mean, I put a lot of effort and stuff into that. And in about 6 minutes, I had said everything I knew to say about that psalm and everything else that I knew about any subject. So it was a very short sermon. Most folks got out early that evening. That was down the south where they have night church. They got home early that night. But since then, I have hopefully grown up a little bit and become a little more aware of what things mean and what the heart means and what goes on in the heart and in the soul. So today I want to share with you a little bit about stillness. Eckhart Tolle says that stillness is where creativity and solution to problems are found. Where creativity and solution to problems are found. It all begins in silence. Not silence, stillness. There's a difference, and we'll get into that in a minute. Stillness. Be still and know that I am God. I like for us to sing a little song. You know how I do this. Nobody else does it or not. You may think it's weird, but I don't. So I want us to sing a little song, and I think it's a song you may know. We were going to sing it a couple of Sundays ago when we were preparing to do a worship in a box, but that didn't work out. We did something else that day, and so I wanted to sing this little song. It's called Spirit of the Living God, Fall Fresh on Me, Melt me, mold me, use me, and so forth. So let's sing together. Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on me. Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on me. Melt me, hold me, fill me, use me. Spirit of the living God, fall fresh on me. Spirit of the living God, in this stillness, in this moment of centeredness, fall afresh upon us all. Stir in us the depths of our soul. Amen. Several weeks ago, Brenda and I talked about today. And she said that she thought that a good idea. You know, Brenda, she always has good ideas, and they're always good. They're good. And she had a good idea that something should be said or done to drive the Spirit deeper into our hearts and into the soul which we share with God. So immediately, the idea of stillness came into my mind. Not silence, but stillness. Stillness, to me, can be accomplished in our hearts and in our lives in spite of the chaos in which we find ourselves most of the time. Stillness, as we said before, is a creative place. It's a place where problems are solved. Now, I have a first-hand experience with that business of solving problems by just sitting and being still. For example, this morning, I don't know why, but for 40 years, I have never been able to get into my mind until Sunday morning. It suddenly occurs to me, I have a children's sermon I've got to think about. And I don't know why that always happened. That Saturday would come and go, and I'd be ready, boy, I'm ready to go. And then Sunday morning, boom, there's that business. So this morning, I just kind of sat quietly and was led to that story of the Father and the Son and the half blanket. I don't know where those things come from. They just come bubbling up when we are allowing ourselves to be still. I think the psalmist understood this. I think the psalmist knew that in stillness we find God. Be still and know that I am God. He didn't say shout and sing loud and pray unendingly. Look someplace specific. Hunt around all our lives to try to find God and try to find whatever that is that needs to us. But rather, God said to the psalmist, be still. Be still and just know that I am God. Be still and know that I am exalted in all the earth. When I was in this college, I was trying to figure out the business of grace. And I never did get a handle on it at that time. I kept thinking, what do you have to do to get this grace? Because I thought it was some kind of magical thing that if you had grace, everything was perfect. Life would go on and nothing, there could be no problems. How do you get this grace? And somewhere along the way, and I don't remember when, and I wish I did, but I don't. It's probably best that I don't. But I remember all of a sudden the lights came on, and I realized what grace is. That grace is the gift of God that there's nothing we can do to earn it. There's nothing we can do to pay for it. God simply gives us this gift of grace, and it's not magical. It doesn't mean that everything's going to go away. All the problems are going to come to an end. Everything's going to be great. Our world, all the chaos is going to end, and people are going to become kind, generous, and loving. Like most people are. We only hear about the ones that create chaos. But most people are kind. Most people are generous. Most people are loving. And I think that God's grace comes to us in that way. In the lives of people. The lives of people that are kind and good and loving and caring. You know, the other Sunday when we were going to do worship in the box, it came upon the heels of that terrible situation in Orlando. And today we think about the terrible situation in Istanbul, in the airport, where senseless things happen. And in the midst of that, perhaps there are those, and I think that probably we've all felt this way before, and if we haven't, I think we may need to kind of get real and look. Excuse me, I don't know what my problem is. I'm all choked up. Trying to feel 6 minutes. In the midst of all of that chaos, there are people who say, okay, where is God? Where is God? Why does God allow that stuff to happen? And the psalmist says that God says, be still, hush, be quiet, and listen. And you will find your God. I don't know if I told told you about the little sign that I saw down in Arkansas one time. If I did, well, listen again. Maybe you'll find something else in it. Well, we lived down in a little community called Biomeda, Arkansas. It was a little open country church in the middle of the rice fields and the soybeans and all that. And there was the church and a couple of houses and the parsonage, and that was it. So it was kind of out and away. Not too many people drifted out that way during the week, so you didn't see too many folks. But every now and then I would need to go to a meeting up in Little Rock, and I would get in my car and I'd drive up the way and back through the back roads. And it's this beautiful country down there with the swamps and no telling what's out there in the water. And the road goes right through all this with big cypress trees and all on the side. It's a beautiful place. And I kept looking back through the woods as I would drive down that way, back in the swamp, back in the water, and there was a tree back there with a sign on it. It was a little white diamond-shaped sign. And I kept thinking, one of these days I'm going to bring my binoculars down here and I'm going to stop. There was no shoulder, so if anything's coming, you don't stop. But usually there wasn't. So one time I did. I took my binoculars down there, and I always wondered, how did anybody get back there to put that sign on that tree? There wasn't room for a boat to go back there. I guess they must have waited, which is, pretty gutsy in that part of the world. So I took my binoculars one time, and I stopped on the side of the road, or in the middle of the road actually, and looked out back there at that sign, and it was a little white diamond-shaped sign with a blue border. And in blue letters it said, God is in charge. God is in charge. Be still. Know that I am God. Be still and trust. Be still and love. Be still and care about each other. Because in that caring, and in that stillness, and in that heartbeat that we all share, and in that great soul of God, which includes all of us, that's an old Celtic idea that, instead of individual souls and individual things and all, we are all one. We are all a part of the great soul of God. That just gives me all kinds of comfort to know that we are in this together. And guess who else is in it with us? Be still and know that I am God. We are all in it together, and by golly, God is in there with us. To me, that's very comforting. I like that. I like that idea of God being in it with us. Not out there looking down saying, oh my goodness, you see what they did that time. But rather being in it with us, sorrowing with us, grieving with us, reaching out as we reach out to each other. Knowing where the power to change things really lies. Old Gandhi used to say, be the change you want to see. So in our stillness, while we're being still, in our stillness, we find the power to change things. We find the power to be the presence of God in our world today. Not looking out there saying, God, where are you? But looking at each other. And he's saying, there you are. There's God right there. There's old Chuck. That's O-L-E, Chuck, by the way. Be still and know that I'm God. Be still, and in that stillness, feel the presence and the power of the Spirit of God as it goes deeper and deeper and deeper into our own spirits. So that we can become, and I saw a bumper sticker one day out at hospice that said, I'm a spiritual being, have a human experience. So that we can all become human, spiritual beings. And we're having human experiences. Be still and know that I'm God. Be still and know the love of God as we experience the love of this community. This is one of the things that amazes me about this community of faith is that is the love that I see displayed and the joy that comes when we all come together and we go over and we have cookies and stuff, all visiting and being together and experiencing God's presence, I believe, in each other. There's so much. There's so much that is revealed to us when we are being still. Not just what story should I tell the rugtime folks this morning, but who God is, where God is, where the power comes from for us to change. I saw something one time, somebody asked God, why don't you do something about all that chaos down there? And God said, I was going to ask you the same thing. Deep in the depths of our soul, the soul of God, we find the power to be everything that God had created us to be. And in the light of the example that is set before us by Jesus, our brother, our loved one, our son, our daughter, in the example set for us of always putting people first. Jesus never. I defy anyone to find a spot where Jesus put rules in front of people. Never. That was not the characteristic, it was not the nature of the presence of God demonstrated to us by Jesus. It was God's nature. And as a part of the soul of God, it is our nature. Our nature to love people as people, not as this, that, and the other thing, not as men or women or children or certain genders or certain colors or certain. That's not the yardstick that Jesus used to measure people. The yardstick that Jesus used was, these are children of God. These are people created by the creative force, whatever that is to you. Created in order to love one another. To be God's presence in our world today. And I keep remembering my little sign back in the swamp. God is in charge. And again, when we look into the depths of our souls, we discover that the creative force, the creative power, the power to, as Eckhart Tolle says, the power to solve problems and the power to create resides in our stillness. To me, that's a powerful verse. Be still and know that I am God. Powerful verse. And I think gives us a real glimpse, a real idea of where we would find God. When we acknowledge the chaos of the world and say, yes, that's there, but then we go into our inner stillness and there we find the power to do whatever we want to do. Try that. Try it. Sit quietly sometime. Don't ponder anything. And as thoughts come through your mind, let them go. Just let them go. I mean, yeah, your mind will go 100 miles an hour. But in the midst of all that, in the midst of that still time, you will find the presence that fills the soul of God. And I believe that presence is found in the presence of each other. So be it.